they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. With my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power.
It's the one and only queen of receipts, the dropping gems in these YouTube streets. The lawyer Royce, nowhere to go. Tune in for the infamous morning show, giving the news that you need to know. So don't you dare miss a wake-up call. Then in the evening, I got all for y'all. Get your dose of daily vitamins. You know the queen makes it make sense. So true.
All right, Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen QueenAShakur show. I'm your host, Queen QueenAShakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Okay, because y'all know I have to keep the lights on. Please pay attention.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so with that being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so hello, most hated bronze flat power god, Christopher Perkins in the building. All right, we the people in the house, Claudette, Latasha, Deronda, Dee Dee, and Dallas. All right, let's get into it, Dornicia. Okay, Byron is in the house, 504 Nola, Hadassah is here. Okay, Vince, I am all the way from the UK. That crazy beach Aries, G from the land. All right, let's get into it, Trisha. All right, the lounge is in the house. All right, the lovely T, Trisha. Okay, so shout out to everyone in the chat. I see you, Nessa G. Shout out to everyone in the chat and everyone tuned into the Queen. Let's get this party started. All right, let's get it started. Did I say Nessa G? Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, listen. So it was reported that yesterday Hulk Hogan died at the age of 71. So we're going to talk about him, okay? We're going to talk about Hulk Hogan because, yeah, I absolutely do remember him. We're going to get into that in just a second. But before we do, I want to show you a tale of two different Karens, okay? I want to show you video footage of two Karens who just are absolutely nefarious, okay? Please pay attention. And one of these Karens is black, all right? So I'm going to share my screen so we can see this. And everybody hit that like button. Thank you in advance. And then we're going to get into it. Hey, CJ the cat. All right, here we go.
Drusilla telling my son to call the police because she been sitting here saying she about to pour this water on me, balling it. But as I come to the stove to fix my food, she reached for the water. So I grabbed the pot and then I grabbed for her hand to move her hand so she do not grab this pot to pour hot water on me. When I did that, she told her son to go call the police. And that's why he's sitting here saying now she told him to call the police when he know that's not right. I have it all on camera. Because to move your hands so you don't pour hot water on me when I'm just coming to the stove trying to fix my food. There's no reason for you to pour hot water on me. I have all of this recorded. I touched her hand to move her hand so she do not grab this. I did not even touch her hard. I touched it very soft. So you don't pour hot water on me, Drusilla. When I walked into the stove to make my food, I didn't walk to the stove to touch Drusilla. I walked to the stove to make my food. And when I did, she went for the pot to pour hot water on me, as she has been saying for the last 20 minutes about why she is standing here. My kid's food is sitting there. She said that she are standing at the stove to pour the hot water on me. That's why it is boiling. That's why she is standing here at the stove. The food is done. There's no need for her to be standing here. But she did that for the water to boil, and when I started walking to the stove, she reached for it to try to pour it on me. So I grabbed this part of the pot, and then with my other hand, I slightly touched her hand to move it. And when I did that, she told her son, go call the police, and he did not. He just moved my little man out of the way. He just moved my little man out of the way, telling her mama to stop. And I have it all on camera. Goodbye.
Now that's a darn shame. Y'all see that? Now, he was not lying, okay? The little boy didn't even want to call the police because he had sense enough to know that his mother was lying, okay? It's a good thing he recorded it. You see how these women be out here lying, but some of y'all be talking about believe all women. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, no, you don't believe all women, because women lie and manipulate and do all the nefarious things that men can do. That's a fact, okay? That is a fact. Now, that was just nefarious. That woman's a whole Karen, okay? She can be black all she wants, but she's still a Karen. You see, anybody can be a Karen. It doesn't matter what race or ethnic group you belong to. If you're a liar who lies and you do nefarious things just to try to cause someone else grief or harm because you're upset in your feelings or you don't like something they said or did or how they look, yeah, you're a whole Karen. Now, here is the tale of another Karen. This Karen is a man. Okay, please pay attention. Oh, what the fuck is she doing? What do you need?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that we were supposed to sit here, especially since you were behind me, so now you want to go ahead? I'm just going to block you, and now you're not going to go anywhere today till I get some. How's that?
Nobody's answering, so how is this my fault?
It says till 2 o'clock. Maybe if you'd roll your goddamn window down, you'd hear it.
Okay, so
here who don't hear that message because you're busy playing on your fucking phone.
Okay, so what do you have to do here? What do you have to do here if it's open at 2? Why are you here?
Because I'm here to pick something up too.
Okay, so if it don't open till 2.
For an elderly family member,
okay, so if it don't open at 2, then how the hell are you gonna pick up your medicine?
Easy.
Answer me that.
Easy. I'm right in front of that thing. How are you gonna get it?
Okay, can you get the fuck off my car? Thank you, sir.
Actually, it's man, but fuck you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Like I said.
Sir? Oh, really? Sir?
Thank you.
Sir? You want to keep saying sir, bitch? You want to keep saying sir, bitch? Piece of shit. Piece of fucking shit. You want to keep saying sir? Are you a Trump voter?
What are you going to do?
Are you a Trump voter?
No, the fuck I'm not. But
really?
What the fuck are you going to do?
Right,
what are you going to do? What are you going to
You
do?
sound like a MAGA bitch.
But you touching my shit like you own it. Do you own it? Do you own it? Okay, but why are you touching my stuff? Why are you touching my stuff? Clearly, you was just, I have you on camera. I have you. Bro, I'm not even playing. I'm not playing. Get the fuck in the car. I am not playing with you.
Oh, you're not
Bro. Get the fuck in your car. I'm not fucking playing with you.
I am done. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? I am so through. Okay. Way to get the day started right. Now, first of all, I don't understand what the point was because you're upset because she's just sitting there. The place is not open till 2, and clearly it's not 2. And so you have to wait regardless, even if her car wasn't sitting there, sir. Okay. Leon says she's engaging too much. Honey, sometimes you just have to go off on people, honey, and act crazy. Okay, I'm serious. So they leave you the hell alone. Now, Team Jesus 25 said, not meaning to sound rude, but Queen, I thought you and FBA wanted Trump in office instead of Kamala. Honey, I don't know why you thought that. Okay, I've never said any such a thing. All right, I went in on Trump and Kamala, specifically Kamala, because I feel like we already know Trump's a whole idiot and a liar who lies. Okay? Kamala, yes, I went in on her because I didn't like her or Trump. But if you'd been listening, okay, on a regular basis, you would have heard that I specifically said I wasn't going to vote for either of the two. And in fact, I interviewed Dr. Shiva, whom I was going to vote for until he called Sabby Sabs a house ninja. Okay? That's what he called her. And so after that, I said, I'm not voting for him either. All right? Any more questions? Because see, what some of y'all do is y'all tend and choose to have selective hearing. You see, here's how it works. And I want y'all to listen real close, people in the back. Here's how it works. Anytime someone, specifically an influencer, content creator, whatever you want to call us, okay, when we say certain things that don't align with your own ideology, your own points of view, your own opinions or values, well, that's all you know, is that what we're saying doesn't align with that. At that point, you no longer are listening to what comes after, okay? Because if you were listening to the whole thing, I absolutely said that I was not going to vote for Trump. I didn't vote for Trump the first time or the second time, okay? I'm just saying. So let's not paint narratives. And see, this is what happens when people assume. And you know what they say about assuming, right? Please pay attention. Now, that all being said, just so we're clear, nobody over here voted for Trump. They don't. Okay, now listen. Let's talk about Hulk Hogan. Let's talk about Hulk Hogan because, y'all, he died yesterday. And, I was always taught as a child, I was going to report on it, but then I thought about it. I was taught as a child, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. But then I said, why not? I can say something that isn't nice if I want to. People are always talking about don't speak ill of the dead. Well, what if the dead spoke ill to you or about you or your people or did nefarious things when they were on earth, alive and breathing? You see, the thing people think is you have to say nice things about people after they're dead just because they're dead. But the fact of the matter is, if you were an asshole, specifically a racist asshole while you were living, when you're dead, you're still one, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm going to call you the same thing I called you when you were living, a racist asshole, because that's what Hulk Hogan was. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. But here's the thing. Here's what they say about him. And this is actor Elijah Wood, who's now 44. Y'all remember Elijah Wood from Lord of the Rings? Superhero for so many. Actor Elijah Wood, age 44, reminisced about Bolea. That was his name, right? Okay, after hearing of his passing on Thursday in San Diego, saying even if you weren't a wrestling fan, they were a fixture of pop culture. Okay, that's what he said about Hulk Hogan and his contemporaries. They seemed ubiquitous for people who grew up in the 80s and 90s. I beg to differ. Now, actor and TV host Mario Lopez described Bolea in a post on Instagram as the only celebrity I've ever been truly starstruck by when I met. Now, I want you all to pay attention to the names I'm telling you who are speaking so favorably of this man, because just know that they're racist too. Okay? Yep, they are. All right, that's how I see it. You are the company you keep. And the people you look up to, you're either just like them or trying to be. Okay, so that's just how it goes. Now, that all being said, I will not be supporting Elijah Wood or Mario Lopez ever again. Let me continue. So he says that's the only celebrity that he ever met that he was truly starstruck by. Alongside a photo of Lopez as an adult with his own children meeting Bolea, Lopez wrote, Hearing about Hulk Hogan's passing hits deep. Feels like a piece of my childhood is gone. The bandana, the flex, the leg drop, the larger than life energy. He was the superhero for so many of us. Rest easy, brother. I hope you rest in pits if you really want to know the truth. Okay. Now, according to an obituary in the Los Angeles Times, Bolea was the Make-A-Wish Foundation's most requested personality in 1992 and visited as many as 26 children a week. Isn't that nice? I bet none of them looked like me, but let me continue. He also had hundreds of official Hulk Hogan products, from action figures to vitamins, and was a celebrity spokesperson in commercials for cereals, deodorants, and more. Okay, y'all hear that? Brooke Shields from Suddenly Susan says, "Rest easy, Hulk." That's what she posted on Instagram alongside a photo of her arm wrestling him in 1999. All right. And so, anyway, with that all being said, these people are praising this man like he really was something. He's nothing to me. I'm quite sure all the racists loved him then and still love him now, and quite frankly are hurt by his passing. Hulk Hogan was a great American hero or a great American icon. You want to know who said that? I'm so glad you asked. Vice President J.D. Vance. But is anyone surprised? Okay, other Republicans, including House Speaker Mike Johnson and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, also offered tributes. Johnson called him a giant in stature and in life. DeSantis said he was a major icon and a Floridian through and through. This is all hilarious to me. See, I'm reading you all this and letting you all know this because here's the thing. Do you all remember this fool who looks like me, whose name is Candace Owens? Do you all remember that time she said that Black people are the only nation of people that praise their criminals and all that? Remember when she said that? Now, Hulk Hogan's no criminal, but he clearly is racist. But do you all remember when she said that? And I thought, girl, how dare you say that about Black people, that we're the ones who praise criminals? If anybody does that, it's the other people who don't look like me. Because at the end of the day, that's why we have all these damn Confederate statues, right? Isn't that why we have all the Confederate statues? Because clearly they praise their criminals. So what the hell is Candace talking about? More nonsense as usual. Okay? Panda Strike said, Brooke Shields, that was Michael Jackson's friend, Queen. Yeah, I know she was. Only if Michael knew. So anyway, with that all being said, I just wanted to let you all know that. All right? Because y'all remember that time he used the N-word. For those of you who don't remember, let me just refresh in your memory. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Was Hulk Hogan racist, they say? In particular, there was an incident in 2015 which Hulk Hogan was fired by WWE after leaked audio surfaced of him using racist slurs. Now, at the time, Hogan had reportedly learned that his daughter Brooke Hogan was dating a Black man. How dare she? Did she forget her place and that he was supposed to be out there in the fields picking all that cotton? According to a transcript that was obtained and published by Radar Online and the National Enquirer at the time, Hogan was recorded saying, I'd rather she was going to F some ninja with the ER. I'd rather have her marry an 8-foot tall ninja worth $100 million, like a basketball player. I guess we're all a little racist, effing ninja. That's what he said. Okay, he said more. But I think that's enough to let you get the point. Okay, now after the news of the racist rant surfaced, the WWE was quick to distance itself from Hulk Hogan, removing all references to him from its main website and releasing a following statement that said, WWE terminated its contract with Terry Bollea, aka Hulk Hogan. WWE is committed to embracing and celebrating individuals from all backgrounds as demonstrated by the diversity of our employees, performers, and fans worldwide. You think they didn't know he was racist? Of course they do. Listen, these companies 9 times out of 10 know that they have these racist employees working for them. The only reason they fire them when they get exposed for doing or saying something that's racist is because they want to continue to make Black dollars. Okay, they want to continue to make money off of Black people. That's what they want to do. Okay, please pay attention. Now, that all being said, in a subsequent interview with People, Hogan apologized for his behavior. Isn't that what racist people usually do when they get exposed? He says, 8 years ago, I used offensive language during a conversation. It was unacceptable for me to have used that offensive language. There is no excuse for it, and I apologize for having done it. Okay, this is not who I am. I believe very strongly that every person in the world is important and should not be treated differently based on race, gender, orientation, religious beliefs, or otherwise. Now, the leaked transcript was purported to have been taken from the SEX tape at the center of his successful $115 million Gawker lawsuit. The suit stemmed from the gossip site releasing a 2-minute clip that purported to show Hogan having SEX with Heather Clem, the estranged wife of his best friend. Wasn't he a piece of shite? Okay. So anyway, and people said when that happened that he purposely leaked it. I guess he wanted his friend to find out what a piece of ish him and his wife both were. Okay, so please pay attention. Had the nerve to apologize. I mean, listen, if you're going to be racist, stand on it. Don't break, bend, or bow. If you call somebody the N-word behind closed doors, say that ish out loud in front of a crowd, in front of everybody. Let everybody know how you really feel. Don't backpedal and then come out and offer an apology because it's disingenuous. We know you meant what you said. Talking about this is not who I am. That's exactly who he was. Okay, that's exactly who he was. Period. All right. Now, Ice Cube's son didn't like his arse either. I'm going to go to this clip where he was talking about Hogan some years ago. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, here we go.
Hogan got booed out the building.
I was one of them. I'll show you the video.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that about?
Me, Eric Andre, and Wale was giving it to
I
him.
love it.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, I don't,
But why though? Oh, so if you don't mind me asking, why?
The nigga hating.
Okay.
Okay.
The racism, bro.
Yeah.
It's just hard to forget how detailed that rant was. And if you look up his rant, it's very detailed. And, I get a lot of people online who are like, oh, well, he would be mad if he found out about that whole generation. Yeah, well, when I find out, I'll be mad. But like right now, yeah, bro, bringing them out here, what did you think was going to happen? In LA, we heard the music and it was like, no, hold on. And they let him have it. And that's a pivotal moment in wrestling history.
That is a big moment.
And I'm glad I was there. And
Hulk Hogan got booed.
Okay, there you go. That's what I remember about Hulk Hogan. How about y'all? Okay, talking about he was a superhero to many. To who? Anyway, with that all being said, let's talk about Donald Trump. Okay, because the DOJ, they actually met with Ghislaine Maxwell yesterday, and they're going to be meeting with her again today. Now, I'm wondering what the hell's going on here. Because, I told you all last week, I reported to you how she supposedly wants Trump to save her, was hoping for a pardon. Okay? Which I find interesting. Yeah, hoping for a pardon. Make that make sense. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to go to this report. Here we go.
All right, other news now. An appellate lawyer for Ghislaine Maxwell, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend and accomplice, spoke out about her meeting with the DOJ today. Let's take a listen.
We want to thank the Deputy Attorney General for being so professional with all of us and for meeting with us. He took a full day and asked a lot of questions, and Ms. Maxwell answered every single question. She never stopped. She never invoked a privilege. She never declined to answer. She answered all the questions truthfully, honestly, and to the best of her ability. And that's all the comment we're going to have today about the meeting. We don't want to comment about the substance of the meeting for obvious reasons.
All right, CBS White House reporter Aaron Navarro joining us live now. You know, this visit coming amid a lot of criticism over the Trump administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. How is the White House responding to all of this today?
Yeah, you could kind of see this move by the number 2 at the Department of Justice as a way to kind of alleviate some of the pressure that they've gotten, not only from Democrats, but from some of the, quote, more MAGA parts of Trump's base, who have been critical of this administration since the DOJ put out a memo that essentially said that they found that Jeffrey Epstein did not have some sort of blackmail list and that he had committed suicide. From what we saw today was Todd Blanche, who announced earlier this week that he'd be meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. We also know that Maxwell had been subpoenaed by the House for a deposition, waiting to see when that will take place. All this coming as the Trump administration, the president himself, is looking to kind of get past this story. One kind of wrinkle in all of that, though, is some reporting from the Wall Street Journal yesterday saying that Trump was told by his Department of Justice in May that his name had appeared in the Epstein files. Important to note that just because your name is in there does not signal any full-out wrongdoing. And we also know that Epstein and Trump were kind of running in the same New York City social circles in the 1990s, but again, is another thing that ties Trump to this story that the White House is looking to get past.
And Aaron, on top of the president's visit to the Federal Reserve, we understand he'll be signing some executive orders today. What do we know about the content of those orders?
Yeah, so one of the orders is regarding homelessness. It is meant to make it easier for states and local jurisdictions, cities, to remove homeless people off their streets, put them in treatment centers. It specifically directs the Attorney General to, quote, reverse judicial precedents and end consent decrees. There's also language in here about how federal money, when it comes to combating homelessness, will be prioritized to certain cities who don't have illicit open-air drug use and other things that the White House has criticized in the past. Another notable executive order regarding college sports, and specifically the Name, Image, and Likeness program. The president signed an order that essentially will attempt to create national standards for this program, prohibit, quote, third-party pay-for-play payments, trying to kind of tamp down the feeding frenzy that happens, especially for men's basketball, men's football, in terms of the transfer portal and many athletes kind of getting bidded on to switch schools.
Aaron Navarro. Aaron, thank you.
This is what Ivy League universities you can get into with a 3.6 GPA.
All right. So they met with Ghislaine Maxwell. Like I told you all, they said that she's been asking for a pardon. That's the rumor that's been out here in the street. And they said when she came, a source said that when she came, she brought or took away with her a box. I wonder what was in that box. Was it documentation? Was it the notes that she's been keeping while she's doing her time in prison? I don't know. But they said that Trump's administration is being very quiet about the entire situation. Okay. That's what they said. They're being very quiet about the entire situation. Ghislaine Maxwell believed Trump would save her. Now she's documenting everything behind bars. Okay, you all remember that. Now, why would this woman think Trump's going to save her? What's that all about? And by the way, I think you all should know that Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, well, you already know about Trump, of course, but they were both people with not only Jeffrey Epstein, but Ghislaine as well. There she is with a red circle, all right, at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. Okay? Now they expect us to think that these people don't have any nefarious connections or ties to them, that there's no reason to think that they had any sort of wrongdoing. Like, please make that all make sense. Okay? That's absolutely crazy as far as I'm concerned. So since Trump's election victory, the convicted ex-trafficker's legal team has petitioned the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn her conviction. But Trump's Justice Department this week defended prosecuting Maxwell, saying she was wrong to claim she was protected by the baffling sweetheart plea deal that Epstein struck with the Florida feds in 2007. Now, Ian Maxwell, Ghislaine's brother, believes the feds the Fed's opposition is a positive development, saying it signals that they're in trouble and that Ghislaine's case is legitimate. This is what he told the Daily Mail days ago. Now, Trump has backed Attorney General Pam Bondi and demanded transparency about the Epstein case. Has he? Because I find that interesting. On Friday, the Trump administration asked the Manhattan federal judge to unseal grand jury transcripts in the Epstein and Maxwell cases. Well, you know, I already told you all that's a big fat nothing burger. You're not going to find out anything from that. They know it. So they're just trying to feign as if they're trying to give us some information or trying to give us something new, just so people quiet down. Now, the Epstein files controversy continues to build around the president, with Maxwell said to have compiled a birthday album for Epstein's 50th birthday in 2003. We already know what was in there. Okay. So all of this stuff that Trump is doing is just making him look a whole lot more guilty, and things continue to happen. Okay. The lounge says, hey, beloved, the lounge says Ghislaine will test a lie, not testify. Okay. She's a known liar, pants on fire, and the death ain't in her. Okay. At the end of the day, thank you for your insight, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. You mean the truth ain't in her? Yeah, it absolutely isn't. I mean, and why would we believe anything that this woman has to say? Okay. She's meeting with them, in my opinion, in the hopes of getting a pardon, not to give them any significant or beneficial information about the Epstein files, the Epstein list, or any of that. I absolutely don't believe it. Because like I told you all yesterday, how could the same woman who wants Trump to pardon her, how could she get up there and say the truth? Because we know that she absolutely knows everything that went on. We know that she had a first eye view, okay, a bird's eye view. She had a front row seat to the nefariousness. And she knows exactly why Trump's name is all in and throughout those files. All right. So is she really going to expose him? Of course not. That's what she's not going to do. Anyway, they're going to have another meeting with her today. So let's talk about it, this second meeting and what exactly is supposed to be going down. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Orthodox meeting is set for round 2 in just a few hours. The Deputy Attorney General of the United States, Todd Blanche, is going to be meeting with Jeffrey Epstein's convicted former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, meeting again at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Tallahassee, Florida. That is where Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for conspiring, as John just mentioned, with Jeffrey Epstein to sexually abuse young girls. There are very big questions surrounding all of this, given the, 1, obscurity of the meeting, and 2, the lack of credibility that this woman has. What was asked of her? What information did Maxwell provide? What is being negotiated, and what is her motivation to speak at all? And can she be trusted to tell the truth? Todd Blanche has said that the Justice Department will be sharing any information that they learn, but, quote, at the appropriate time. And this all puts into focus, once again, how the White House is struggling. The president is struggling to turn the page on the issue over the Epstein files, as he has called it a hoax, but very clearly he can't shake it, and Congress does not share that viewpoint. Congress has made it clear they don't think it is a hoax. They want to see the files, and they aren't giving up. The Republican chair of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer, has already issued a subpoena to depose Maxwell. And he also says he's now moving quickly with issuing a subpoena to the Justice Department for all.
Let me explain to you all exactly what's happening here, okay? I want you all to really pay attention. So we have people that are pretending, okay? And please listen to me carefully. We have people pretending that they want Trump to release the files. They don't, okay? They don't. I want you all to pay attention. You think Congress really wants Trump to release the files? Do y'all really think that? Once in the chat if you believe it. Once in the chat if you really think that Congress wants Trump to release the files, the list. Once in the chat if you really believe that. Because I'm here to tell you that none of these people want them to release those files. And the only reason they're acting as if they're putting pressure on Trump is because they absolutely know Trump is not going to do it. They know that he's not going to do it. So what we'll do, as they all sat together and concocted the scheme, let's apply pressure and make ourselves look like the heroes, like we want him to put out the information, even though it's been alleged that Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Obama, and other people in the Democratic Party were on that list. So let's just sit here and pretend that we're wanting him to put all of this out. Okay? Because primaries are coming up soon. We've got to make it look good. We know he'll never actually put it out because his name's in there. It's all up and through the files. It's already been shown and confirmed that he was absolutely good friends with Epstein and even Weinstein. And what about Jean-Luc Brunel? Don't they all have ties together? Let's not leave out Peter Nygaard. And what about Prince Andrew, whom Trump claimed he didn't know? See, I've already connected the dots. And I've already told you a myriad of names of people that were tied to all of these people that I just named. And if you don't think that those people knew and know exactly what the hell was going on with Epstein, then please think again. So these people do not want Trump to put out those names because some of their names are likely on the list. Make no mistake. And so, yeah, this is nothing but political theater. This is a show, people. This is a smokescreen. It's a nothing burger. We're never going to find out anything other than what we already know, unless we do the research ourselves, as I have been doing. And I gave you all a bunch of information just days ago that nobody else is giving you, I'm sure. Okay? So that's what this all is. But let's keep listening to the bullshit.
All of those Epstein files. CNN's Kara Scannell tracking all of this for us this morning. What are you learning now, Kara?
Hey, good morning, Kate. Those are all great questions and questions that we are trying to get the answers to. But as you said, this is the second meeting, the second day in a row where Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell is convicted and serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking of minors. Prosecutors had proven at a 4-week trial that Maxwell had abused underage girls, recruited them and groomed them for Epstein to also sexually abuse them. So the big questions here is, what are the terms of this meeting? What are the ground rules here? Is Maxwell being offered anything for her testimony? She is trying to appeal her conviction and also this 20-year sentence that she is only a few years into serving. So a lot of questions about what is left to talk about today. We did see yesterday that the lawyers met for the full day. They arrived at 9 a.m. They left at 4 p.m. David Oscar Marcus, Maxwell's attorney, told CNN afterwards, he said that Ghislaine honestly answered every question that Mr. Blanche asked, and she will continue to do so. We are grateful that the government is trying to uncover the truth. Now, what the content of these discussions are, the questions, the answers, Blanche has said that he wants to know if Maxwell knows of anyone that committed any crimes against minors, these victims of the case. Now, Maxwell has denied any wrongdoing. She was, in fact, charged by the Justice Department with perjury for what she said in a civil lawsuit when she denied any knowledge of Epstein's scheme to recruit underage girls and have them give him sexualized massages. She has always maintained her innocence. So it is unclear what the scope of this testimony is, why it requires 2 days, and what she is saying, though we did see the video of her returning to prison yesterday where she was carrying a box in her hands. It's unclear what is in that box. Could be items that she brought to the meeting, or maybe it's information they want her to review. But she will be back in this meeting today, and we'll look to see how soon it is afterwards that Todd Blanche might update the public on what transpired in this meeting, what the Justice Department learned. Is it going to be enough to kind of quell the growing storm around this, the storm that won't go away, and if Maxwell's attorney provides any update today? Kate?
What's in that box? Now, she suggests that it may be something that they want her to review. Who the hell is she to review anything? And what do they need her to review? What could they possibly need this woman to review? She already knows what the hell's going on. Okay? She already knows what's going on. Now, this woman wants a pardon from Trump. The question is he going to give it to her?
Yeah. Kara Scannell, thank you so much. John.
All right, with us now, CNN political commentator Alyssa Farah Griffin and CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Hogan. And I have to say, Ellie, that Kara just raised a number of really important points here as we head into this extraordinary day 2 of meetings between Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell. What are the terms? What are the ground rules? What's in the box that Maxwell is carrying? And how will we ever find out?
Okay, what is happening here resembles superficially the very ordinary cooperation process that I went through countless times as a prosecutor. You have a criminal defendant, that person's interested in cooperating, you spend days upon days with them, and you download everything they have. It looks like that's what's happening here, but let's be clear, it's not. This is not going to result in Ghislaine Maxwell becoming a full cooperating witness for the United States of America. This is not realistically, given her credibility problems, given.
Okay, you see this? Now he's making sense. Okay, exactly. This is a nothing burger. She's not going to give him any darn thing.
Her past going to result in DOJ in signing her up as a cooperator, giving her a sentencing break, indicting new people based on her calling her as a witness at trial. And so the question then becomes, and I think these are what Kara's questions go to, what is the end game? What are they trying to do? It looks to me like they're trying to check a box. They're trying to appease the critics, be able to say, look, we sat down with her, we got information, we dug in, we tried to find the truth, and hopefully that'll appease people.
This man is smart. That's exactly what they're doing. Okay, that's exactly what they're doing. I want you all to pay attention. Nancy G said this is Trump gate. Okay, that's exactly what they're doing. Now, this is my first time listening to him. I just gathered some videos to show you guys about what happened at the meeting and whatnot. But I absolutely have to agree with him. Okay, they're just trying to shut everybody up and pretend that they want this to be exposed, but they don't. None of them do. Okay, none of them do. Facts.
I don't know if it'll work, but I think that's the end game.
And how will we find? I mean, I think, look, we're going to hear only, I think, what Maxwell is telling Blanche via Blanche and maybe Maxwell's attorneys, and all of their interests may be aligned. I mean, how will we ever see real data on this?
Exactly. You would never have somebody audio recording this type of scenario or video recording this type of scenario. We don't know, but I would assume that holds true here. Ordinarily, and it seems like what's happening here is you will have a prosecutor, Todd Blanche, in this case, very unusual, by the way, that it's the deputy AG, asking questions, and one or more FBI agents taking notes. They will then, the FBI agents will produce what's called a 302, which is a written summary. But you're right. Who controls the questioning? And then who controls what we see of this? The answer is DOJ, Todd Blanche, and the FBI.
Alyssa, you know, to quote the famous political film Mean Girls, the president keeps trying to make hoax happen when it comes to the Epstein case. He calls it a Democratic hoax and whatnot. But I want you to listen to House Speaker Mike Johnson, what he just said about all of this.
We want full transparency. We want everybody who is involved in any way with the Epstein evils, let's call it what it was, to be brought to justice as quickly as possible. We want the full weight of the law on their head.
He's lying, you guys. This man is full of ish. Okay. He is a liar who lies. Do you really believe what he's saying? He's lying. Okay, he doesn't want anything to come out. Please pay attention.
This is not a hoax, in other words. Oh, it's not a hoax. Of course not.
Of course not. So what does that tell you about the messaging the president has been trying to deliver? As again, we're standing by to see the president depart for Scotland, where I imagine Epstein may come up on his way out.
Yeah, the president can't make hoax or fetch happen at this point. But listen, Mike Johnson and Donald Trump are virtually always aligned. But in this moment, keep in mind, we're a year and 4 months out from the midterms. Mike Johnson's members are going home to their districts for this August recess. And many of them are going to hear from very angry constituents over the flip-flop and reversal on the Epstein files. Many voters turned out. One of the reasons they did is they wanted to get to the bottom of this. You know, Donald Trump doesn't really have to deal with this beyond just the continual drip of questions and getting grilled by reporters, but he's not standing for re-election again. And Mike Johnson's top job right now is keeping the House majority. So he is going to have to create some daylight with Trump. He also said something interesting when asked yesterday, I believe, where he kind of sowed some doubt that Ghislaine Maxwell could actually be a trustworthy person, because this is a convicted sex trafficker. This is somebody who assisted a man with grooming and with bringing other women into this horrible circumstances. So he also seems to be maybe kind of pouring some cold water on the idea that she's going to help us get to the bottom of anything, or that she herself should be trusted. It's the right move. It's the right move by Johnson. He's got to focus on protecting his members and cannot have them dragged down by the White House's mishandling of this.
It is interesting. You bring up Maxwell again, and you have to, I hope people do remember what some of the victims, Epstein's victims, have said. I mean, they have said that, this was testimony in her trial, that she sexually abused them. She was convicted of conspiring to sexually abuse minors. And how much of a risk, Alyssa, is there that in these meetings where the Justice Department seems to be praising the idea of the meetings. Maxwell's lawyers are praising the Justice Department. How much political risk is there of trying to seem too cozy?
I honestly think it's a complete misreading of the room. If you want justice for Jeffrey Epstein, if you are outraged over the behavior he engaged in, you should be equally outraged over Ghislaine Maxwell's behavior. I mean, there's a special place in hell for women who would help men abuse younger women. I think that's a universal take of people who want to get to the bottom of this Epstein saga. So there, I think, is a real fear. Is she going to get some kind of a deal? Is she incentivized that she should cooperate with what the Justice Department or the White House wants to hear her say because she might get a more lenient sentence or ultimately a pardon at the end of Trump's term? Those are things that his base does not want. They see her as big of a monster.
Yeah, she is as big a monster as Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, Queen Sam says, so Mr. Speaker, if she says it was all Trump, what will you do with that information? Exactly. He's not going to do a damn thing. That's why he's full of cap. Okay, at the end of the day. And I'm sure by now the entire administration knows darn well whether or not Trump had something to do with it. And I believe he absolutely did. Okay, now prior to that, Dernicia asked, and I forgot to read her question aloud before I removed it, but Dernicia asked, if she gets out, do we even care? And how's that going to hurt or help us? Well, here's the thing. It's not about whether it's going to hurt or help us. She can't do anything to us. We're grown. We're adults. We can fend for ourselves. But who she has harmed in the past were people who were underage, who were minors. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, whether or not she can hurt me doesn't have a darn thing to do with her getting out. People like her should be in prison for the rest of their lives. Okay, people who harm young people, children, people who do nefarious things to children, people who put them out there to be trafficked and all of those things, yeah, they need to be in prison for the rest of their lives. It doesn't matter if she's not going to hurt anybody else. Hasn't she, in fact, hurt enough? Okay. That's how I feel about her getting out. She doesn't need to. You say that as if she's no harm or if she's done nothing wrong. You say that, Dernicia, as if she deserves to be walking amongst the free. And I'm here to tell you she doesn't. Okay? I'm here to tell you that she absolutely does not. She never needs to get out. Now, in the meantime, here's another video of some information that Inside Edition shared about Trump. They say new photos of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein unearthed. Now, I haven't seen this. I'm going to share this on the screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Going to put an overlay over this.
To Marla Maples in 1993 was a grand affair at the Plaza Hotel in Manhattan. The guest list was a who's who of the rich and famous, and among them was none other than Jeffrey Epstein. There he is in a newly unearthed photo, entering the reception hall.
We know that Trump and Epstein were...
Okay, so for those of you who missed it, I showed that same photo on yesterday. Okay, I showed that same photo yesterday. Like I said, I didn't watch this prior, but let's listen to what they're saying.
Friends during this period. This is really the first time that it's actually been reported that Trump invited Epstein to his wedding.
The photos were uncovered by CNN. They also discovered this new image from that same year. It's Trump with Epstein at the opening of a restaurant. Trump's children, Eric and Ivanka, are also there. And here's Trump chatting with Epstein at a Victoria's Secret fashion show in 1999. Melania is there. This was after he divorced Marla Maples and before he and Melania got married. The photos and video were all taken many years before Epstein was exposed as a pedophile. But they're sparking fresh speculation about the depth of Trump's friendship with Epstein.
They were joined at the hip.
Stacey Williams briefly dated Jeffrey Epstein in 1993. She's a former Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. How would you describe Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump's relationship back then?
He always had anecdotes and would say, Donald and I just did this and we did that and I had to go here. You know, they were just clearly close friends and did everything together.
Trump hung up on CNN when they called to ask him about the newly unearthed images.
He sort of paused for a second and then said, "You've got to be kidding me," before calling CNN fake news and then hanging up on me.
A Trump spoke.
Do y'all hear this? Is that how Trump handles things? He called them fake news and then hung up. I am so done.
Spokesperson says these are nothing more than out of context frame grabs of innocuous videos and pictures of widely attended events to disgustingly infer something nefarious.
That's because it was nefarious, honey. Anybody hanging out with somebody like Epstein, it couldn't be anything good, and that's for sure. Okay, that's for sure. Now, here's what I want you all to pay attention to. I'm going to share my screen, okay, because I want you all to hear what Trump had to say about several people. And then I want you to hear what he had to say about somebody else. Like, sub, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. This is Trump talking about Kamala. He called her an effing bitch.
How did I do with the debate the other night?
Amazing.
That old broken down pile of crap. Yeah. It's a bad guy. He just quit, you know. He's quitting the rest. Is that right? Yep. I got him out of the race. And that means we have Kamala. I think she's going to be better. She's so bad. She's so pathetic. It's so amazing. It's just so fucking bad. So I just can't imagine. But can you imagine that guy with dealing with Putin?
Okay, y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? He called Kamala an effing bitch, honey. Okay, please pay attention.
So you have to tell Kamala Harris that you've had enough, that you just can't take it anymore. We can't stand you. You're a vice president. The worst. You're the worst vice president. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. You're fired. Get out of here.
Okay, he's going in on Kamala. Now let's hear what he had to say about Nancy Pelosi.
She's a crooked person. She's a bad person. Evil. She's an evil, sick, crazy bitch. Oh, no. It starts with a B, but I won't say it. I want to say it.
Okay, Trump is something else.
Listen to this. Trump speaks
Before
on Nancy
Visa
Pelosi.
It was announced that Visa is being sued by the Department of Justice. Think of that. Nancy Pelosi sold vast amounts of Visa stock one day before the big lawsuit that we all read about a few days ago was brought against Visa. You think it was luck? I don't think. She should be prosecuted. Nancy Pelosi should be prosecuted for that. And she should also be prosecuted for J6 because she turned down 10,000 or any number she wanted, soldiers or National Guard. And I hope you all read John Solomon.
Now, here he is talking trash about Jasmine Crockett.
They have a new person named Crockett. She's definitely a low IQ person.
Let's bring in the person he name checked there, Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. Congresswoman, your response.
The fact that you just got done engaging in a conversation where we have a president of the United States who has no idea about the oath that he just took on January 20th tells me everything that I need to know. He didn't even have good sense enough in that same interview to say something as simple as, yes, I will follow the Constitution. You know, the thing that actually derived from the oath that he was supposed to take. And he supposedly took an oath, which there's a lot of people that point out that he never put his hand on the Bible, even though he acts as if he could somehow be the Pope. But nevertheless, that oath specifically says that you will defend the Constitution. So the idea that you are now taking the Constitution and, as I said at the DNC, putting it through a paper shredder.
Okay, now I'm getting to a point here. Just follow along. I just want you all to hear what he said about all of these women. Okay, every last one of them.
Tell me, because I have no fucking clue what Trump is ever talking about. Why are mediocre MAGA men so fucking afraid of women like Jasmine Crockett. Because Trump keeps saying that shit over and over again. It is a fucking dog whistle, okay? You really are afraid of educated black women. Just take a listen.
I can't name one Democrat. I mean, I look at the Democrats, they're in total disarray. They have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. And they said she's the future of the party. I said,
Then, of course, Loomer had to fucking chime in. On Meet the Press this morning, President Trump said what we're all thinking. No, the fuck we aren't. That's you, dumbass. That is you who thinks that. You and fucking
Now, you all heard what Trump said about each of those women, right? They've committed no crimes. They may be his political rivals as far as he's concerned. But nonetheless, you heard he called them biatches, effing biatches, said they had low IQs, accused Nancy Pelosi of doing something, some insider trading. But that's funny because didn't I say that I think that's what he and his administration are doing just days ago? Okay. When we found out what they did right before his tariffs was announced. I want y'all to pay attention. Okay. And also, let's not forget about what I also think is money laundering through ICE. But he has the nerve. But now listen to what he says about Ghislaine Maxwell. See, that's the whole thing. He had so much to say, so much vitriol towards Kamala, Nancy Pelosi, okay, Jasmine Crockett. But here's what he said about Ghislaine, who's been convicted of doing nefarious things to children, no less.
Mr. President, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a person well?
I don't know that, but I do know that
she has. She's been arrested for that.
Her friend or boyfriend,
Epstein,
was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, you know that.
Oh, so you're saying you hope she doesn't die in jail? Is that what you mean by wish her well?
Her boyfriend died in jail, and people are still trying to figure out, how did it happen? Was it suicide? Was he killed? And I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody. And they took that and
she's a child sex, alleged child sex trafficking.
Big deal. But all it is her boyfriend died. He died in jail. Was he killed? Was it suicide? I do. I wish her well.
Okay, you all heard that. So he called Kamala an effing bitch. Okay. Called Jasmine low IQ, Jasmine Crockett, and then talk trash about Nancy Pelosi. But Ghislaine Maxwell, he wishes her well. Y'all hear this? He wishes her well. Anyway, so now, oh, doggone it. I deleted the wrong video. Hold on, guys. Now, there's a video that I'm going to where they said he was flat out asked, Trump that is, if he would pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. Hold on. Okay, let me see here. Hold on. Okay, so this is a live video. I'm going to rewind it because they said Trump's taking questions before he departs to Scotland, and they said that he was flat out asked if he would pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, so let's go to that real quick while I'm looking for this other video.
Focus on the fact that Barack Hussein Obama led a coup, or they should focus on the fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, who you know very well, and lots of other friends, really close friends of Jeffrey Summers, should be spoken about. Because, you know, Jeffrey Epstein should be spoken about. And they should speak about them because they don't talk about them. They talk about me. I have nothing to do with the guy.
Are you considering before you do any business deals with the UK?
Yeah, I'm going to meet with the Prime Minister right now. We're going to be over there in about 6 hours. We're meeting with the Prime Minister tonight. We're going to be talking about the trade deal that we made and maybe even improve it.
Are you considering clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell?
I saw homeless people sleeping right outside the gates of the White House. Are you concerned about that? I think it's terrible, and we'll
Now, do you all see how he got away from there? Yes, he's a pathological liar, Mel. Did you all see how he walked away from there? When they were asking him about Ghislaine, he didn't want to talk about that. He's tired of hearing it. Okay, please pay attention. He is sick and tired of hearing it. Okay. Now, meanwhile, they say we should all be terrified. Fired DOJ official sues Trump administration for wrongful termination. What's really going on here? Trump's on a whole hiring thing. Hold on. I mean, firing. Hold on. Let me share my screen. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
Dismissal last month, a fired federal prosecutor is now suing the Trump administration for wrongful termination. Michael Gordon says his dismissal last month was unjust. The former assistant U.S. attorney says he was abruptly fired from his position without warning or cause after prosecuting dozens of rioters who participated in the January 6, 2021 Capitol insurrection. He says he was notified of his termination with a one-page letter signed by Attorney General Pam Bondi, citing the power of the president outlined in Article 2 of the Constitution. Gordon is one of 3 fired DOJ officials who filed the lawsuit against Attorney General Bondi late yesterday. And Michael Gordon joins us now for his first TV interview since filing that lawsuit. Michael, thank you for joining us this morning. So let's just start here, if you will. Tell us why. Why do you believe you were fired because of the actions you took in the aftermath of January 6th?
Well, it has to be that because it can't be anything else. That same week that I was fired, I had just indicted the biggest, most important case in our district, a $100 million fraud against a guy who had been stealing from his special needs clients, special needs kids. He stole $100 million. That also same week, I just received my performance review where I've been rated outstanding, the highest possible rating, just like I'd gotten every 6 months for the 8.5 years of my career. So it had nothing to do with my performance. Also, the same day I was fired, 2 other January 6 prosecutors were fired. So it's pretty easy to connect the dots.
I'm glad that he's suing them because he needs to sue Trump. Trump is very much so abusing his political authority. His power is what he's doing. Okay, firing these people because they prosecuted the whole insurrectionist, the domestic terrorists, the homegrown terrorist who invaded the Capitol January the 6th. Is he crazy? This man's out here doing work, okay? Somebody stealing $100 million from disabled kids. Let that man have his darn job. Trump is a whole idiot.
That it wasn't my performance, but rather the fact that I prosecuted people that this administration wanted protected.
So tell us more about that. Tell us more about those prosecutions, the January 6th defendants that you did and your colleagues did prosecute that you believe led to your dismissal.
Yeah, so I prosecuted those cases for 2 years. I joined the Capitol Siege section of the DC U.S. Attorney's Office as a volunteer. And then for the next 2 years, I prosecuted people who assaulted police officers, who tried to storm the Capitol, prosecuted a man who sought to take Congresspeople hostage, prosecuted people who brought weapons into the Capitol. Those were righteous cases. Those are people who admitted breaking the law or who juries found guilty of breaking the law. I wasn't prosecuted because I did something wrong. I was prosecuted because I enforced the law to try to protect democracy.
Hey, Michael, Sam Stein here. I want to go a little bit broader to talk about your firing and what it means for people in the Justice Department. When Maureen Comey was fired recently, she wrote a letter. Maureen Comey is the attorney in Manhattan who brought the case against Epstein. She wrote a letter saying she worried about prosecutors no longer abiding by the idea of bringing cases without fear or favor. And she thought that perhaps in the future, prosecutors might be fearful of actually accepting politically controversial or dynamic cases because they might face retribution from the administration like what you're alleging here right now, that you were fired because you had been involved in the J6 cases. How pervasive is that fear, do you believe, in the current DOJ among people who had jobs that you once held?
I think very, unfortunately, and terrifyingly. I hear from now former colleagues and FBI agents every day that they now wonder if they're next. They're looking over their shoulder, wondering about any case they take and wondering whether even if they follow the law, even if they do what our jobs are, which is to follow the evidence and the law wherever they lead, that they could be fired just for doing their jobs. We should all be terrified of living in a country where the law isn't what's on the books. It isn't what we can all read and understand, but it's instead whatever the president says it is, and that whim could change. So I think that what's going on is already doing damage to the Justice Department, and I worry that more is on the horizon.
Former federal prosecutor Michael Gordon. Michael, thank you very much for joining us this morning. And you can read more about this case and a new in-depth report on NBCnews.com, authored by our colleague, NBC News.
Okay, listen. Trump is just low down and dirty, honey. At the end of the day, like I said, just taking out his frustrations on his political rivals and anybody who did anything that he doesn't like. Okay, so I'm going to go to a video in a moment of some people who were Epstein's victims. But before I do, I want to take a moment. Hold on. I want to take a moment to reflect on Virginia Giuffre. Because as I have told you all before, multiple times, this young woman's tragic life really just breaks my heart. Okay? It really does. Because let me tell you something about Virginia Giuffre. You see, here's the interesting thing. We all know that she was trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. That's why Ghislaine Maxwell should never see the light of day. And there she is with Prince Andrew at the tender age of 16 or 17. But did you all know this? So Virginia Giuffre experienced periods of homelessness. She was a homeless teenager. Okay, she suffered vulnerability in her youth before taking a job at guess where? Mar-a-Lago, Trump's resort. Okay, I want you all to pay attention, but Trump didn't know what the hell Jeffrey Epstein was doing. Of course he knew. He was doing it too, as far as I'm concerned. That's my opinion. Now, we'll probably never be able to prove it 100%. That's what I believe. This young girl, this young woman, she was a teen at the time, but she was homeless, living on the streets, struggling to have anything to eat. She got a job at Mar-a-Lago, the resort owned by Donald Trump. Okay? She had run away from home because of child abuse. This is a real victim, not Cassie and not Jane Doe. Childhood abuse, and she ran away. She stated that she was sexually abused by a family friend at the age of 7. Abused by a family friend at the age of 7, leading to a troubled childhood and running away from home. Living on the streets by the age of 14, she was reportedly, so devastated after having experienced further abuse. She was in foster care. Then she met someone by the name of Ron Eppinger. Okay? She was reportedly abused and trafficked by this man. Then at the age of 14, she reunited with her father, who worked in Mar-a-Lago, and he helped her to get a job there when she was 16. It was during this time that she was allegedly recruited into Jeffrey Epstein's network. by none other than Ghislaine Maxwell. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? This is absolutely heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. This was a real victim. Somebody abused as a young child, forced to run away and flee, hoping to find safety, but only to be homeless on the streets and then trafficked by some grown man, and then to reunite with her father, who then introduces her to a man who owns a resort where she gets a job. But this man is best friends with, guess who? Another child trafficker. And there she is, dead, months ago. I'm going to go to a video. Sorry, guys, I had to pull myself together. I'm going to go to a video of other Epstein victims who talk about he and Ghislaine Maxwell's abuse. She has the nerve to ever dream or think that she deserves a pardon. Are you serious?
Child sex abuser Ghislaine Maxwell is not the victim here. The real victims, the survivors, are people like Jane. Now, we don't know Jane's full name, but we know that Jane was 14 years old when she met Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell at a youth camp in Michigan. Here's what the story said, quote, Epstein first abused Jane when she was 14. Jane said that there were sexual encounters with Epstein for the next 3 years, around every 2 weeks. Sometimes Maxwell was in the room during the sexual abuse. There were occasions when Maxwell touched Jane's breasts. Jane is a real survivor. So is Carolyn, who testified that she went to Epstein's home over 100 times from age 14 to 18, where she was told to massage Jeffrey Epstein. Carolyn said that at the age of 14, before one of the massages, Maxwell came in and felt my boobs and my hips and my buttocks and said that I had a great body for Mr. Epstein and his friends. And then there's Maria Farmer.
I want you all to pay attention to what she said. She said Ghislaine told her that she had a great body for Mr. Epstein and his friends. Who are his friends? Who were his friends? Trump was his friend. Prince Andrew was his friend. Jean-Luc Brunel was his friend. Peter Nygaard was his friend. Weinstein was his friend. Who are the friends he's talking about? Or that Ghislaine was talking about? Who was she talking about? Do we really need the list at this point, people? Because we're never going to get it. Do we really need the list? Okay, we know who his friends were. We know who his friends were. Ghislaine already said it. Told a 14-year-old that she had a good body for Epstein and his friends. Who were his friends? I think we all know who they are. So Trump can sit there and play games all he wants.
Unlike some of Epstein's other victims, Maria Farmer was 25 years old when she says Epstein assaulted her, though her younger sister, who also says she was abused by Epstein, was a minor. Maria Farmer was an employee of Jeffrey Epstein's at the time. She said that in 1996, she was at the estate of Victoria's Secret CEO Leslie Wexner with Epstein and Maxwell. She says that Epstein and Maxwell violently groped her until she fled the room and barricaded herself in another part of the building. And during her time in Epstein's orbit, Maria Farmer says she also encountered Donald Trump. She told the New York Times that in 1995, quote, late one night, Mr. Epstein unexpectedly called her to his offices in a luxury building in Manhattan. She arrived in running shorts. Mr. Trump then arrived wearing a business suit and started to hover over her. Ms. Farmer said she recalled feeling scared as Mr. Trump stared at her bare legs. Then Mr. Epstein entered the room and she recalled him saying to Mr. Trump, no, she's not here for you. The two men left the room and Ms. Farmer said she could hear Mr. Trump commenting that he thought Ms. Farmer was 16 years old. Joining me now is Maria Farmer, along with her attorney, Jennifer Freeman. And before we get started, I just want to say to you, Maria, I think it is incredibly courageous that you are continuing to tell your story in a very, very public way. It cannot be easy, and I'm very grateful for you being here with us tonight. So let me start just there, Maria.
Thank you, Jen, for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let me start by asking you, I mean, this nightmare has followed you for a very, very long time. I mean, decades. And I'm sure that Jeffrey Epstein's reemergence, I mean, all over the news has been incredibly painful. How are you? How are you doing? How are you digesting all of this?
Thank you for asking that. That's very thoughtful because a lot of people aren't aware of every time his picture is on one of their podcasts or, and I've asked several people, can you please not just flash his picture everywhere or Maxwell's and not glamorize them? But thank you for asking that because a lot of people aren't aware that re-traumatizes victims every time we have to see his face. And it's a case that has just never gone away. It just won't go away. And I need your audience to understand that, I reported this almost 3 decades ago. So a lot of people will say, oh, why is she just coming forward now? And they think it's political. And it's not. It's something I've been working on pretty much. I dedicated all of my youth to this. And so I'm doing it not just for me, but for the victims who are now deceased and the victims that are very much alive. And I want to get justice for all of them. I feel that for my little sister to have gone through what she went through and to have had to testify against Maxwell and then have to suffer, and there are others that I love very much who are suffering this right now about Maxwell. It's completely unacceptable. Why would Maxwell be given a voice when she is a convicted pedophile? It's been very difficult, and I appreciate the question. I appreciate you asking.
Of course. And I think we're all grateful for you having the courage to be here and tell your story and be out there. And let me ask you, because this is one of the reasons I think it's so important to hear from people like you who are so courageous. I mean, you and your sister, as you just referenced, Annie, were the first survivors to come forward and try to tell the authorities about what Epstein and his associates were doing. You first went to the NYPD in 1996, then the FBI. You said you felt like you weren't taken seriously. Right. You've repeated that. You now
dismissed.
You were you were now suing the federal government, accusing it of negligence and failing to protect victims of sexual assault. And I just wanted our viewers to be aware of all of that and all the time you've spent on this and trying to get this story told. Tell us more about the story you told to the police.
Well, when I called, I told them I was reporting kind of an international pedophile, and I called it child pornography ring because they didn't call it CSAM yet. But that part is one of the most important parts to me because some photographs that were personal photographs of mine that I used for working from, not to copy exactly, but they were anatomy studies for my art. And I was doing these series of paintings for the movie As Good As It Gets. This wasn't for me. It wasn't for Epstein. It was actually for a major producer. And because of being, held captive, I didn't get to finish that. But basically, those photographs are a permanent thing that Ghislaine Maxwell stole from the basement at Leslie Wexner's guest house. And those photographs are a permanent
way that my sisters are being abused and that I'm being abused. And so when I told the federal government, I said, this really frightens me because I believe if they did this to us, they're doing it to everyone. And I see a lot of children coming in allegedly for Victoria's Secret modeling or for modeling for Katie Ford. You know, they had all these model scouts around them, Trump, all these people, and they were allegedly auditioning models. But for Victoria's Secret, the girls didn't have any breasts. I didn't understand. And so basically, it's been very an arduous journey over 29 years of just trying to get people to hear me. So I'm so grateful that you're bringing attention to this evening.
Nope. And we want you to be able to tell all the aspects of your story that it's so important for people to understand. And it wasn't you didn't only go to the FBI and the police back in the 90s. You also had an interview with agents in 2006. And one of our legal correspondents, Lisa Rubin, was able to obtain the FBI's notes from that interview. I'm going to showing some of them right there on the screen. There are a ton of redactions in these notes, as you can see. And I know this was some time ago, but do you remember what you spoke to them about during this interview and what details you shared with them during this interview?
Yes. Yeah, so basically I want to make it really clear because people don't understand this. My little sister was only 16 and she didn't go to the FBI in 96. I did that. And I protected my family because I didn't want anyone to know how dangerous this was. And so basically after 1996, they literally just hung up and I heard nothing for 10 years. And then I got a knock on the door. I was in the woods of North Carolina and there were these two agents standing there. And Agent Nesbitt Kirkendall said, we're here about your 1996 FBI report. And I was kind of shocked, and it's because I have so much trauma. I was kind of making jokes and trying to give them orange juice and cookies and, just make light of it. And it's so traumatic. Like my sister was selling like products to them. We didn't know what to do with the FBI. We told them the entire story of what occurred with Ghislaine Maxwell being a sexual predator and predating children. She used to say, I need to go get the nubiles at 3:00 because the children were getting out of school. And of course, I would ask to quit. And I said, what is this? And she said, no. They're just models for Victoria's Secret, Maria. Just calm down, So basically there was a lot of gaslighting that occurred, but in 2006, they hunted me down and they asked me to testify in the federal trial in Florida. And then they gave the sweetheart deal. And so I never testified. And then when it came time to testify in this trial, I actually was in ICU and chemotherapy. And a lot of people say she didn't even get to testify. And I'm like, because I was incapacitated. But my sister did testify and my mother. And our stories have never changed. They're very credible.
I did not realize
I just want my
that.
files.
Of course you do. And I didn't realize about your health journey too. You've been through a tremendous amount. You've also talked about a night in 1995 when you were at Jeffrey Epstein's office and Donald Trump came by and made a lewd comment, and then you overheard Epstein say to him, she's not for you. And we just told this story because you've told it publicly before.
Right.
And in response to that, and I want to ask you about that, but I just wanted to note that in response to that, a White House spokesperson responded saying, this is recycled old fake news of the highest order that was already peddled more than 6 years, concocted by Democrats and the liberal media, just like they did with the Russiagate scandal, which was just proven today. The president was never in his office. The fact is that the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep. There is a lot packed in there, similar themes we've seen in other statements, I will say, but it's about you. What is your response to that?
Right. So, first of all, that's so insulting and disingenuous because I reported this in 1996. And I have to say, Donald Trump was a Democrat when I reported him. So him saying that this was a Republican thing, this is not a partisan thing. This is pedophilia. Anyone can be a pedophile. It's literally, unfortunately, it just happens to be a lot of Republicans. And that's a fact. And those same Republicans want to entertain Ghislaine Maxwell, like Tim Burchett. wants to entertain her and flash her around and act like we victims should not be heard from. He didn't want to speak to me. He wanted to speak to Ghislaine and give her a voice and an audience. And my little sister is one of her victims, and so am I. So this is so damaging. And yes, I'm fighting 2 cancers, so I would like to be able to retire and have my FBI reports so that I can help bring accountability to everyone. It's not just me. I have the weight of all the young women on my shoulders right now.
You certainly do. And I am, again, grateful for you being here. We have to sneak in a very quick break.
Jen.
I have more questions for you.
Okay.
I hope you don't mind sticking around.
Okay.
Both you and Jennifer,
Not
thank
at
you so
all.
much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
That was awful. Y'all hear that? I mean, and did they even stop to think, or do they even care how the victims feel? This is all so sad. Hold on. Friends reveal the Jeffrey Epstein victim, Virginia Giuffre's tranquil suburban life. They reveal her life before family trouble and then when her life was taken. So Virginia Giuffre's harrowing early life as a victim of S abuse and trafficking at the hands of one of the world's most notorious pedophiles was in sharp contrast to the apparent domestic bliss that she carved out for herself in Australia. Giuffre was 41 years old, and she became a fierce advocate for abuse victims and fought Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for years in court. Okay? She moved to the land down under with then-husband Robert Giuffre, raising their 3 children 2 decades before her life apparently began to unravel. They said she was a very lovely, strong she was very lovely, had a strong American accent. It was very pretty. Okay, this is what one of the mothers said about her. One of the mothers who had a child who went to school with Virginia's children. She said she tried to be a very good mom. The Giuffres were residents of the typically quiet suburb of Glenning Valley on Australia's New South Wales Central Coast, about an hour north of Sydney until 2013. So here's the thing. Do y'all think this lady took herself out? I absolutely don't believe it. She'd already been through hell and back. Okay, she'd already been to hell and back. And then finally, when she gets a piece of joy in her life and has her children and a husband who loves her, why would she take herself out? Okay? Why would she take herself out? I do not believe that. That's her and her husband, who met in 2002. Like I said, many of these victims have lived such tragic lives, and some of their lives ended tragically as well. And now this lady who was a victim also has cancer. Still hasn't really gotten any measure of justice. Jeffrey Epstein died before he could be put on trial and took all those secrets with him to the grave. Okay, because that list of over 100 people that he gave to the judge is now forever sealed. And we'll never know just how deep this rabbit hole actually goes. But by the fact that they did these things for years, these pedophiles, by the fact that they did these things for years, and there's been such a huge cover-up for decades, okay? For decades, we'll never know just how many people were involved in the pedophile networks of which that woman just spoke. That's Virginia with her 3 children. Their faces are blurred out, of course. But anyway, you think she wanted to leave her children knowing that she was homeless and lived on the streets? Okay? Exactly. Andrew said there's no way she took herself out. Exactly. No way she killed herself. Okay, so with that all being said, Measurement says there were men, about 80% of Victoria's Secret models that was the secret. Okay, wonder why our leaders spent $40 million on TS monkey studies. Are you serious? This is all crazy. Thank you for that tidbit of information, beloved, and thank you for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Not 40% of them or 80% of them were men, and that's the secret. I am absolutely done. Well, you know, it was owned by Leslie Wexner, who I told you all that I believe he was absolutely Jeffrey Epstein's boyfriend. Okay. Hold on, beloveds. I'm getting a text from someone. Oh, this is all so crazy. Panther Strike says, Queen, victims of elitists are just cast away, but we as the moral majority will not let it go so easily. Family fight for our families. Exactly. Okay. Leon Gardner said, I don't believe that half has been told. I absolutely agree. Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and thank you for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so anyway, that all being said, I'm about to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you all. Okay. You know, these women's stories are very tragic. Okay, very tragic indeed. And it's almost insulting to try to compare someone like Cassie or Jane Doe to these people. Okay. I just want you all to really think about that. It's almost insulting. Matter of fact, it is insulting. Okay, it absolutely is insulting. I just can't compare the two. I'm sorry. And I know there's no perfect victim. We all know that. But at the end of the day, some of these people were not victims. They only pretended to be to get what they wanted, which was money, fame, and fortune. Okay, they were victims of domestic violence, and that's totally different from being a victim of trafficking. Okay, please pay attention. All right, so with that all being said, Nessa G said very insulting. Absolutely. Okay, D Major Scaling said exactly. Don't compare the Diddy situation to this horror. Exactly, beloved. And you know something that's interesting? Where's the outrage for people like Nasty Grace? Now, she reports on Jeffrey Epstein because it's trending news, but she doesn't have half the amount of outrage for him, okay, and Ghislaine that she had for Diddy. And neither does the black Nancy Grace, or shall I say Nasty Grace, okay, who mimics her talking points. I just want you all to pay attention. So with that all being said, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. And I may be back later on because someone just texted me about going live with them later today. So I just might do that. And if I do, then I'll have it on this channel as well. So anyway, with that all being said, everyone enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got